Accessibility and mobility. Did you know, according to the CDC, 1 in 4 adults in the United States lives with a disability? Failing to prepare your online course materials to be usable for those with disabilities would hence leave out many learners. So let's talk about the accessibility standards required to support disabled web users. WCAG compliance. The World Wide Web Consortium, or W3C, establishes the international standards for the World Wide Web and its accessibility. The Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or WCAG, are one of those sets of standards. Many countries and international organizations are required to comply with WCAG to meet the needs of web users with disabilities. ADA compliance. The Department of Justice published the Americans with Disabilities Act Standards for Accessible Design. These standards state that all electronic and information technology must be accessible to people with disabilities. Section 508 compliance. The U.S. Rehabilitation Act of 1973 was amended in 1986 and again in 1998 to include all information technology, including computer hardware, software, and documentation. These amendments are known as Section 508. Section 508 entails enforcement measures that mandate accessibility compliance for websites, documents, and applications developed with U.S. federal funding or for U.S. government agencies. So just to recap, the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or WCAG, falls under global rules to make online content accessible to disabled users. The Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA, falls under National Accessibility Guidelines, and Section 508 Accessibility Guidelines applies to all institutions that receive government funding, which includes schools. So, what are these accessibility guidelines and best practices? Let's start with how to support users with visual limitations. Note that the suggestions in bold are considered the most important. First, add alt text to all graphics and links. Alt text stands for alternative text, and it refers to hidden text that is read out loud by a screen reader when it comes across an image or link. Generally, alt text should describe what the graphic is for those who may not be able to see it. Also, be sure to designate headers for screen readers. This will help those using screen reading software to more easily skip to the sections of a website they actually need to get to. For documents like PDFs, use something called OCR text. This stands for Optical Character Recognition. In short, you just don't want to use scanned documents since screen readers won't be able to interpret the text from a scanned image. Use high contrast images and color schemes. And finally, utilize clear graphics and fonts, as well as large text and graphics that will be easy to see. For those with auditory limitations, you will want to add closed captions to all your videos. Most video hosting websites, including YouTube, will have an easy way for you to add captions to your videos. Just be sure not to rely too much on auto captions without checking to make corrections, since some auto caption features are less than reliable. Similarly, all media should have a text option. This just means that any audio should also be accompanied with text. And finally, be sure to provide clear audio for those with partial auditory issues. Supporting users with physical limitations often relies on the same practices for supporting users with visual or auditory limitations. For example, designating headers and links for interactive screen readers is also important for those with physical limitations since they may need to speak to or interact with a device to help them navigate a website, jumping to other sections or finding and clicking on links, for example. And finally, to be supportive to those with cognitive limitations, use clear and concise text, supporting graphics, and language. Remember, when something is made easier to understand for some, it will be easier to understand for all. Need help checking your media for accessibility? Check out the following websites and free accessibility checker tools. Did you know that Miss.mo can help you create accessible training content? When uploading content to Miss.mo, keep an eye out for some of the built-in accessibility supportive prompts, like alt text when uploading pictures, and defining headers when composing text pages. This helps make the user experience better for everyone. Additionally, Miss.mo incorporates some accessibility tools for users. You can activate these by clicking on the accessibility icon in the bottom left corner of any page. Another important issue to consider when moving any instructional content online is what we refer to as the technology gap. According to the Pew Research Center, 81% of adults own a smartphone in the United States, whereas only 74% own a laptop or desktop computer. Additionally, 1 in 5 adults are smartphone-only internet users. Therefore, to be considerate to trainees with limited technology access, it is important to try to make all instructional media mobile-friendly or easy to view on a mobile device. To make your media mobile-friendly, try using large text with few words. Remember that detailed presentation you created may end up looking very small when displayed on the screen of a smartphone. Similarly, use clear graphics. Closed captions on videos are always a good idea, since they can help those having to watch a video on a small screen more easily understand what's happening in the video. Try to limit downloaded content whenever possible. For example, not everyone's cell phone will be able to handle a downloaded Word document. And most importantly, when in doubt, just check it on mobile. Try looking at your videos or presentations on a mobile device to see how they look. Thanks for watching. For more information on digital badges, please visit www.miss.mo.